joins me from Michigan. This interesting battle at the moment, in a sense, between inflation, which of course, rising prices, yes, it helps your bottom line, but obviously also you have to pay more for your raw materials and the manufacturing, the cost of moving it. How do you balance it out? How are you facing the inflation crisis?
Yeah, well, first, thanks for having me, Richard. Good to be with you. And I would say, the price points that you pointed out are real, and on a percentage basis, they're quite significant. And so we're working very, very hard to mitigate that as much as we possibly can. But also remember that it's still very affordable, right? And so in a world where prices are rising across the board for everything, you can still have a bowl of cereal, a bowl of your beloved Frosted Flakes, with a cup of milk for less than $1, like more like 50 cents. So it still remains very affordable despite being higher than it was a year ago. And those higher prices are clearly driven by our input cost inflation, which is in the very high teens.
Right. Now, your input cost inflation, of course, you have to contain a lot of that within the factory gate, as we used to say. You have to basically eat a lot of that inflation rather than passing a good chunk of it on. But do you believe that cereals are recession proof? We've always known that cakes and biscuits to some extent have a recession, but if I look at the breadth of your company, do you believe that many of your products are recession proof?
Yeah, I'd say recession resistant, to be sure. I don't think anything in the world is recession proof necessarily, because we just don't know quite how these challenges are going to affect individual families. But as I said, cereal is very affordable, so in many ways it benefits from tough times. And then our snacks, people love affordable luxuries. People don't want to give up their Pringles, their Cheez-It. It's our job, as you said, inside those factory walls to contain and mitigate price increases as much as we possibly can. We want to do that because we want to remain affordable. And yes, people do, come to our brands during tough times.
Right, but here's the contradiction you face. Your employees want higher wages because their own cost of living for things other than your goods, energy, gas, all the things that they're buying. So how are you going to contain wage costs, which is exactly, of course, what the Fed is frightened of, that there is a wage inflation spiral about to start?
Yeah, it's a macroeconomic issue, right? And it's the world that we're in right now, when you have high single digit to low double digit inflation across the economies. It creates pressure on wages, not just in our company, but in companies everywhere. And so, like everything, we work to mitigate that, but we want to pay competitive wages as well. So we watch what's happening across the labor market so that we can maintain our competitiveness as other companies do. But it's clearly a challenging time right now, because the inflation pressure is not just in commodities and cost of goods, it's in wages, to be sure. And you have very low unemployment in the United States and in many other areas, which exacerbates the pressure on wages.
I wanted to ask about this split of the company. When I read it, I read the rationale and I saw the reasoning, but I wondered why. Surely, as a company, you're better having these different aspects that can pick up the slack and take the strain, and when one's doing well, the other's not. What do you gain by splitting off snacks and cereals and all these other bits?
Yeah, so it's really the opposite of the scale argument that you would make, and the portfolio diversification that you would make. The global snacking company is obviously going to be a very, very sizable company at over $11 billion in sales in international markets, lots of different brands. But the cereal company, we believe, will benefit from a singular focus on cereal, the one category, the limited geographies of the U.S., Canada, and the Caribbean, and a single-minded focus of the sales organization, the management team, the incentive compensation, everything to focus on just cereal. So we believe in the long run it will be something that unlocks significant value creation for us, for our customers, for our employees.
I do wonder, because I've been around long enough, as indeed have you, sir, that we've seen this wheel turn. Yeah, sometimes it's put together, and the people who put all these cereals and snacks together thought this was the right thing to do because it gave diversity and strength in difficult times. So what changed?
Yeah, for us, we're doing this from a position of strength. And so a lot of the things that you could point to in the past were not done from positions of strength. You have to go buy something, add it to your portfolio because you've got a weakening. Obviously, our second quarter results show that across the board, geographically and category wise, our business is doing very well. And so, our argument is we're doing it from a position of strength. It's nothing that we have to do. It's not solving a problem. It is chasing an opportunity. It is chasing the future. And again, a single-minded focus on cereal, we believe, is necessary right now and will unlock value there. And the global snacking company, as I said, marvelous brands across great geographies and obviously a very high growth business.
You'll forgive me, sir, as I thank you, that I have a single-minded focus on cereals at the moment, and I'm unlocking real value as I dig into a box of Frosties. And I think, with milk, they're great, but I also like them just on their own. Thank you, sir. I'm grateful to have your time.
Good being with you, Richard.